guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to talk about an update on Lori Vallow. If you don't know who I'm referring to, I will leave my latest video on that up here, but I will leave the video even prior to that down there in the description. That sounded weird, down there. Anyway, the basic gist, if you don't feel like watching those videos, is that Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell, they're a couple. Lori's children have not been seen since September, and she is refusing to cooperate with the police, which is extremely suspicious, and everyone's been screaming about how she should be jailed or something should be done to force her to account for her children, because really she's just been on vacation in Hawaii, so... However, before we get into the video, I did want to thank our sponsor, that is Raid Shadow Legends. I'm sure you've heard of the game, but if you haven't, it's a free mobile and PC RPG game that's known for its fantastic graphics. Links will be left in the description as well. A cool aspect of Raid Shadow Legends is that it's cross-device, so you can play with the same user on your mobile as well as your desktop, which is a convenient switch for when you're out versus at home. I personally enjoy the game because of the champions. I tend to gravitate towards games where I find an aesthetically pleasing character I can choose and game with. This right here is my favorite champion. I like to call her Elven Megan Fox. That outfit is bomb, so that's pretty much why I chose her, but it turns out she's actually a badass as well. But I mean, hello. One thing I also really like about the game is that the champions look very different from each other, which sounds random, but I always have a difficulty remembering which champion has which power in other games, whereas here they're also vastly different, that you can play them strategically because it's easier to remember who has what skill set. Go to the video description, click on the special links, and if you're a new player, you will get 100,000 silver plus 1 free champion, Hexweaver. All this treasure will be waiting for you here in the inbox. These rewards will be available only for the next 30 days, so please be quick. Thank you again to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring this video. Lori Vallow, mother of missing Idaho children, asked friend to lie to the police about son's whereabouts, affidavit says. Lori Vallow, 46, was arrested in Hawaii on Thursday, months after her 2 children, Tylee Ryan, 17, and Joshua J.J. Vallow, 7, were last seen. She's facing multiple charges, including 2 felony counts of desertion and non-support of children, according to a criminal complaint filed with an Idaho court. She's being held on a $5 million bail, records show. Court documents released by the Madison County Prosecutor's Office in Idaho Friday and obtained by CNN affiliate KTVK detail how Joshua was reported missing in November, the initial efforts of the police to find him, and how police discovered that his older sister was also missing. When detectives in Rexburg, Idaho asked Vallow about her son's whereabouts in November, she told them her son was staying with a friend in Arizona, a probable cause affidavit states. After not being able to reach the friend by phone, detectives asked Vallow to call her friend herself. Vallow responded that they were at the movie theater watching Frozen 2 and it was unlikely that her friend would answer her cell phone, the affidavit says. When police reached the friend by phone later that day, she told police that Joshua was not with her and had not been there for several months, the document says. More than a week later, the friend called police saying that both Vallow and her husband, Chad Daybell, had asked her to lie to the police about the child's whereabouts, but she refused, the affidavit said. Nobody has seen or heard from Joshua and Tylee, who are referred to as JV and TR in court documents, since September, and there's no indication that Vallow has been caring for them in the past months, the affidavit said. So I want to pause and say the whole friend thing is extremely suspicious to me. The asking your friend to lie really does not bode well, and I think most of us have already kind of unfortunately come to a similar conclusion that there's no really good outcome here, because if there's no proof that she's even been paying to care for them, it's hard for me to believe that they're either in a good situation or B, still alive. Friday, Vallow appeared in the Kauai State Court for an extradition hearing, according to Jen Kagehiro, a court spokeswoman. Vallow's attorneys asked the court to lower her bail to $10,000 in the hearing provided to CNN by affiliates. The judge kept Vallow's bail at $5 million and ordered that if Vallow posted bail, she must surrender any passport she possesses to the police department. Daybell, who is not facing charges, was sitting in the courtroom for the duration of the hearing. Vallow's extradition hearing has been set for Monday, March 2nd. So here it says her brother and husband lied to detectives. This is not surprising. it seems like everyone who's really close to Lori Vallow has been lying, or at least avoiding saying anything, which effectively is lying. After Joshua's grandmother told the police she hadn't heard from him, detectives went to Vallow's apartment on November 26th and spoke with her brother and Daybell outside the building, according to the affidavit. Chad acted as if he didn't know Lori very well and stated he didn't know her phone number. The affidavit says Vallow's brother told him the boy was with his grandmother in Louisiana, the affidavit said, but detectives knew she was in Arizona and the child was not there with her. After the brother directed them to an apartment that appeared vacant, Daybell drove away, but one of the detectives stopped him, the document states. When asked about Joshua, Daybell, he had last seen him in Vallow's apartment in October and gave the detective his wife's number. Daybell is not facing any charges linked to the missing children, police said. The Madison County prosecutor declined to comment on whether Daybell would receive any charges in the future. So it's interesting because Chad acting as if he didn't know Lori very well is kind of interesting because it seems so random and such a transparent kind of cop-out. And it's kind of crazy to me that Daybell also just openly admitted that the last time he'd seen Joshua was in October. I don't know how everything is so suspicious and yet it's like no one's finding anything still, and I'm not blaming the police force or whatever. It's just frustrating because it's so obviously suspicious that you almost just want the evidence already because this has been dragged out so much. It kind of reminds me of the Natalia case. So this is where it gets even more suspicious because it seems like Vallow was kind of trying to place the kids far away from anyone who knew them so nobody could really check up on them, I suppose. And it says, Joshua attended Kennedy Elementary School for several weeks before his mother told the school he would no longer be attending because she was going to homeschool him, the affidavit said. He went to the school for the last time on September 23rd, police said. The school told the police that there were no other institutions that had requested the boy's transcripts. A babysitter who was hired and had watched Joshua told police she spoke with Vallow on September 24th, and she told her the boy had gone to stay with his grandma and they would no longer need babysitting service, according to the affidavit. Vallow told a friend that Tylee was attending classes at Brigham Young University, Idaho, but she was never enrolled there or at any other school affiliated with BYU, the affidavit said. Tylee's older brother told police in Arizona that he had not spoken with his sister since August 30th, 2019, when he called. Vallow gave him excuses as to why Tylee could not speak with him, the affidavit said. Vallow, her brother, Alex Cox, and the two children visited the Yellowstone National Park on September 8th. A photo of Tylee at the park's entrance is the last record that police have of the girl's whereabouts, according to the affidavit. Daybell and Vallow married 2 weeks after the October 19th death of Daybell's previous wife, Tammy Daybell. The couple were married in Hawaii on November 5th, but it's unclear if the children were with them. It could just be terrible timing. It could. Considering the case and how many deaths and the whole suspicious nature of everything that's happening here, it's very strange to me that they got married 2 weeks after the death of Daybell's previous wife. Also the fact that before the wedding is when the kids stopped really being seen and nobody even knows if the children were even there. That's suspicious as hell. It makes no sense to me why a 7-year-old would not be at a wedding. Oh, and it also said that the children don't appear in wedding photos, so that's not suspicious at all. This is the even more suspicious part. When interviewed by investigators, some of Daybell's relatives said they were under the impression that Vallow was an empty nester or had no young children, according to the affidavit. When police executed a search warrant in November at a storage unit rented by Vallow, they found a backpack with Joshua's initials on it, toys, and children's clothing, and we already knew about that. So then it turns out that Vallow kept her children's birth certificates with her, and it said, last month the police found birth certificates for the two missing children, a bank card for Tylee, which has been used since her last known sighting, an iPad belonging to Joshua, and the boys' school registration receipts when they served a warrant on Vallow and Daybell, the affidavit said. When police searched a condo where the couple had been living, they did not find anything that indicated that a child lives there. So none of this new information makes me feel hopeful for either of the children. It just seems like the more we know, the worse it looks. And I still feel like we know relatively little considering how much time has passed. So then there's another article that says, mother of two missing children will fight extradition and remain in jail. So she went to court and was facing 2 felony counts of desertion and non-support of a child, and she's supposed to be fighting extradition. The charges, which carry a possible sentence of up to 14 years each, stem from the disappearance of Vallow's children. The 14-page affidavit supporting those charges details a mysterious and complicated story that includes 3 dead spouses, a dead sibling, an attempted murder, and possible religious delusions. So then Tylee's aunt gave her 2 cents and said, "My first reaction was just shock, followed very quickly by elation, and then I kind of felt a tempering of my enthusiasm, like, okay, we will potentially have a long road ahead of us," Annie Cushing, Tylee Ryan's aunt, told CBS this morning. But it really felt like the first jolt of hope for me that we were hopefully one step closer to finding Tylee and JJ. Another important thing to know that came out right after I posted my last update is that a cell phone was found, and it says, "A cell phone belonging to Lori Vallow's missing teen daughter was found in Hawaii last month, according to a report." The fact that they found an iPad, the cell phone, they have the birth certificates of the children, all of these things add up to, you're not taking care of your children, they're not with you, no one's seen them, what's going on? Considering how much time has passed, unless they're locked up somewhere and they're not being allowed to go out in public, I really just don't think I can come to any other conclusion than they met a tragic end, and I really hope that that's not the case. Considering how long it's been, it's very hard for me to remain very optimistic because understandably it's just been so long. You'd think something would have popped up, some sign that they're alive would have popped up. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to my patrons as always, and I'll catch you guys next time.